Kushner presents master plan for Gaza. Former senior advisor to Donald Trump and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has once again placed himself at the center of Middle East debate by outlining what he describes as a master plan for the redevelopment of Gaza. The proposal, presented in broad strokes rather than detailed policy, has immediately sparked controversy, skepticism, and intense discussion about who gets to shape Gaza's future and on whose terms. A vision framed around economics. Kushner's plan is rooted in an idea he has promoted for years, that long-term peace in the Middle East can be achieved primarily through economic transformation. According to his remarks, Gaza's chronic instability, poverty, and humanitarian crises are not only political problems, but also the result of decades of economic isolation, underinvestment, and poor governance. The master plan reportedly focuses on large-scale redevelopment projects, modern infrastructure, ports, housing, energy facilities, and technology hubs that would, in theory, turn Gaza into a functioning and even prosperous economic zone. Kushner framed this as a way to give ordinary Palestinians something to lose by returning to violence, arguing that prosperity would create incentives for stability. Echoes of the Trump-era approach. Observers were quick to note that this vision closely resembles the Trump administration's 2020 Middle East initiative, often referred to as the deal of the century. That plan promised tens of billions of dollars in investment for Palestinian territories, but was widely rejected by Palestinian leaders who argued it sidelined core political issues such as statehood, borders, Jerusalem, and refugees. Kushner has consistently defended that approach, insisting that previous peace efforts failed because they focused too much on diplomacy and too little on everyday living conditions. In his view, economic opportunity should come first, with political solutions following later. The political vacuum problem. One of the biggest unanswered questions surrounding Kushner's proposal is governance. Gaza is currently under Hamas control, while the Palestinian Authority governs parts of the West Bank. Kushner's plan, as presented, does not clearly explain who would administer Gaza during or after redevelopment, nor how security would be guaranteed. Critics argue that without addressing the political reality, occupation, blockade, internal Palestinian divisions, and Israeli security concerns, any economic blueprint risks collapsing under its own weight. You cannot build skyscrapers on unresolved sovereignty, one analyst remarked, summing up a widely held concern. Palestinian reaction, suspicion, and rejection. Palestinian commentators and activists have largely reacted with deep skepticism. Many see Kushner's proposal as another attempt to bypass Palestinian self-determination by offering money and development in exchange for political concessions. For them, Gaza's crisis is not primarily a lack of investment, but the result of blockade, repeated wars, and restrictions on movement and trade. There is also resentment over the optics, a U.S. political figure closely associated with Israel's most hardline supporters, presenting a master plan for Gaza without meaningful Palestinian participation. To many, this reinforces the perception that Palestinians are being treated as objects of planning rather than agents of their own future. Israeli and international responses. In Israel, reactions have been mixed. Some on the right welcome any plan that promises stability without major political concessions. Others, including security experts, question whether massive investment is realistic without a comprehensive security arrangement and international buy-in. Internationally, diplomats and aid organizations have responded cautiously. While many agree that Gaza desperately needs reconstruction and economic revival, there is concern that a privately promoted plan, without UN involvement, regional consensus, or clear legal frameworks, could undermine existing humanitarian and diplomatic efforts. The moral and humanitarian dimension. Beyond politics, Gaza's situation is dire. Years of conflict have left much of its infrastructure damaged, unemployment among the highest in the world, and millions dependent on aid. In that context, any talk of redevelopment naturally attracts attention. However, humanitarian groups stress that redevelopment cannot be separated from human rights. Access to clean water, electricity, healthcare, freedom of movement, and personal security are not optional add-ons, but prerequisites. Without addressing these fundamentals, glossy redevelopment plans risk becoming little more than public relations exercises. A plan without power. Perhaps the most striking aspect of Kushner's master plan is that he currently holds no official government position. While he remains influential in Republican circles and close to Donald Trump, who may seek or hold power again, his proposal has no formal authority behind it. This raises the question, is the plan a serious policy roadmap or a political signal aimed at shaping future debate? Some analysts believe Kushner is positioning himself as a key architect of Middle East policy should Trump return to office, testing ideas and gauging reactions in advance. Conclusion: vision versus reality. Jared Kushner's presentation has once again highlighted a fundamental divide in approaches to Gaza. On one side is the belief that economic transformation can lead to peace. On the other is the argument that without justice, political rights, and local ownership, development alone cannot resolve a conflict rooted in decades of displacement and violence. For now, Kushner's master plan remains more vision than blueprint, provocative, ambitious, and deeply contested. Whether it becomes a foundation for future policy or joins the long list of unrealized Gaza proposals will depend not on speeches, but on power, consent, and the willingness to confront the hard political realities that economic optimism alone cannot erase.